Welcome back, friends. You're just in time for the Johnny Brew Show.
What's going on, everybody? My name is John Brookhagen, host of the Johnny Brew Show, and we got a great episode ahead for you guys, especially you Clark County Republicans. Depending on who you ask, is a different answer for who the Clark County Republican Party or the Clark County Republican Central Committee actually is. We've gone through the lawsuits. Last week we had Jesse Law in. He talked to us a little bit about this stuff. I've repeatedly invited Carrie Ann Buck. I've invited Richard McLean, who has been on one time before, back in May, I believe it was. But they're not getting back in touch with me. Jesse explained his side of the story. I still would like to hear the other side of the story, but I'm not reaching out anymore because I feel I get my feelings hurt when people don't listen to me and don't respond and don't accept my invitations. So I don't want to put myself through that anymore. So it's a standing invite for anyone, especially Carrie Ann or whatnot. Silber Kraus, Ed Gonzalez, you're all welcome on. I am Johnny Brew, and I'm just a conservative dude who wants to get more involved in Clark County. And before I even heard of any of these Jesse Laws or anybody, I was going to the meetings. I went in November. I tried to get involved, and I'm not for or against any. I am for every Republican. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so depending on who you ask, who the real CCRP is, both of these competing factions had meetings on this past Tuesday. It was quite a Tuesday. Tuesday started out at like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. The Clark County Commissioners voted to stop the spread of misinformation. A whole bunch of people, activists, Republican conservative activists went down there. Mac Miller got railroaded out of the meeting and into a metal detector by 2 security guards. Matt Anthony was on the scene. He caught it all on tape. We'll get to that tape in just a little bit. And the day ended with Mac Miller being on Laura Ingraham, one of the shows I watch somewhat regularly. And then in between, we had 2 meetings. What the Johnny Brew Shows calls the old guard as well as the new guard. So, I don't know about how much background information you need. The new guard is led by Jesse Law, and they already had their election, and they voted Jesse Law in, as well as a whole bunch of other board members, Minster, Roach, yada, yada, yada. And they're about getting ready to get back to business. They've been recognized by the NVGOP as well as the RNC, which is definitely plus in their favor. And they were just about getting back to regular business, while the old CCRP has yet to finish the election that we attempted to begin on July 20th. So they have 3 people running for chairman. Carrie Ann Buck is the favorite. Dave Crete is the challenger. And Eddie Hamilton is running for everything. So they had to do their election today at this particular meeting. So we're going to take you through coverage that you only get on the Johnny Brew Show. Because guess who was at both meetings? This guy. And this guy is going to share with you exactly what happened at both meetings. So let's start out. It's I think it's like 7:10. The Zoom meeting, I was in the Zoom meeting with the old CCRP, but they didn't put it up onto YouTube until like 7:30. So we're going to miss the very beginning of the old CCRP meeting, even though I was there for it. And this is the beginning of the new CCRP meeting. Play tape.
Please rise.
Oh. Did we get the welcome?
It's okay, because it goes with what I want to share with you first.
Was that the very beginning, 0 to
I know you're
15?
small in stature, but so is David.
The very, very beginning is actually us stealing music. Here we go. Play tape. We stole this from the PAA podcast. There's some more stolen music.
May already be it. Somebody's got it. Let me know.
I'm giving the Juggalo Patriot reason to own my copyrights. All right. Anyway, that was just a little ode to Rob, my video producer, as well as to the PAA podcast with his little music. All right. If we go out to 5 minutes and 20 seconds, this is also something that Rob put together. So I wouldn't necessarily play the national anthem and take up 2 minutes on the Johnny Brew Show, but Rob put together a nice little piece, which I believe the person who put it together, if I'm not mistaken, was Joe McDonald. And Rob took some pictures and put a little montage together. And the clips, if you want to see the full new CCRP meeting, Rob has uploaded it to his new thing. His name is actually Rob, or really Rob. But nonetheless, the clip will be in the comments. This is the national anthem with Rob's little touch. Play tape.
You're inviting me, Jesse. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang the air, the world's bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
There's definitely no shortage of good singers at Jesse Law events. And I just wanted to say thanks again to Joe McDonald, who I believe set up the empty table for our fallen servicemen, and Rob for putting that little montage together. And then if we go up to 9:44, it's going to be Jesse Law opening up the meeting.
Putting out Steve. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Republican Party.
So he continues to get a standing ovation. I mean, you know, as far as support and enthusiasm, Jesse Law definitely has it from this guard. All right. Now, simultaneously, like I said, the old guard is having their own meeting, and this was at about the same time. This is them after they had already sent out the ballots. They're trying to get all the ballots in. They got most of the ballots back, but they're trying to look for about a dozen or so ballots. And telling this is Steven Silberkraus, the acting chairman of the other CCRP, speaking regarding checking your spam folder as well as giving you a little taste of the flavor here. Play tape.
All right. So again, for any of the members that haven't received their ballot, please check your spam folders. It is possible that it could have ended up in there. We are working on this side to resend those ballots if you haven't received it. But please check your spam. It could be there. With that, we will hold on the elections closing to make sure that those members are able to get their votes in. Mr. Merman says it is not in spam for him.
No, so you get the point. So they're
Mr.
trying to tell people to check their spam folders and stuff like that to get their electronic ballots. I could only imagine trying to do an online ballot that's like legal according to Rob's rules of order or whatnot. It's got to be a tough process. The new CCRP got through their business rather quickly, and then they had a plan to break out into little groups so people could start getting more involved in getting candidates elected. So if we go to the first video, 107 and 0 seconds, this is going to be Rob Tyree introducing Jessica Hansen, who's going to be addressing some of the activism portions of what conservative groups can be doing. Play tape.
And activism at the state level with our legislature, specifically state assembly, state senate. I'm going to welcome up Jessica, the NVGOP executive director, to kind of tell us a little bit more about that. So thank you.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Hansen. I'm the executive director for the Nevada Republican Party. I want this conversation to be more question-based. I want to answer whatever questions y'all may have, but I want to focus specifically on the 81st legislative session that just concluded here in the state. So if you didn't know, here in Nevada, our legislature meets every 2 years. And with that, we don't see a lot of activism from people on the ground who actually have to live with the day-to-day of what these laws impact, right? So raise your hand if this past legislative session you called in to testify.
So this is just Jessica talking to people about how you get involved, how you contact legislators, how you speak at commissioner meetings and stuff like that, and what you can do to have your voice heard. All right. Well, Jessica Hansen and some of the members of the Jessica Hansen is the executive director of the NVGOP, and they broke out into a breakout session where people were getting involved in smaller groups, so that way they could be a little bit more hands-on. While that was going on, and they were trying to get this election straight, here's Silber Kraus explaining why he's going through this specific thing and why it's taking so long, because we want to make sure that not only are we getting all the ballots back, but that it's secret, that, you know, maybe you're besties with Carrie Ann and you think Dave Creet's better, right? It's not supposed to be public. You're supposed to be able to vote in secret. So this is acting chairman of the other old CCRP, Steve Silberkraus. Play tape.
9 of you that haven't been able to cast your ballot, I apologize. What we are going to do to ensure your ability to vote is we are going to close the ballot that's out there now, and we are going. Oh, hold on. Sorry, the secretary has something.
Yeah. Thank you, Acting Chair. Well, we found out from the 9 emails, some of them did not get a ballot. Some of them, the emails that they have, one of them might have been a work email that has blocked the ballot. To ensure their ability to vote, but more importantly, to protect the secrecy of their ballot. With 9 people, we believe that a separate vote for them and then us having to do the math and adding it to the actual total will.
You know, and little did I know when I was watching this unfold how important those 9 votes would end up being. And just a little teaser, part 2 of this episode will have the results of that election. So, another question was brought up by a gentleman regarding, you know, something that Common Sense and the Johnny Brew Show have been bringing up a lot regarding conservative activism is we need a universal calendar, because we're double booking ourselves. We have different people going to different places where we really need all of us to get together and show up in large numbers to each and every event instead of dividing and conquering. So this is somebody bringing that up at the new CCRP's public comment section. Play tape.
Ballot, they are the representative at the end of the day, and if we can't flip that race, then it's our responsibility at that point to interface with those people and make sure that they're making good policy decisions regardless of the political party that they affiliate with. So at this point, I think we have a few minutes left, so I just wanted to kind of open it up to any questions. Do you have questions about how you can interface with county or state government? Do you have questions about the inner workings of how the county and state parties work together or anything like that? So, yes, sir.
So my question is, since showing up is like 90% of the deal, how do we know when and where to show up to things? Is there like, some kind of a central calendar that we can all look at and go to and say, yeah, I want to show up?
CountyRepublicanParty.com. If you go there, we're going to start, we've got a calendar there. If you have events that you want to raise there, there's a way to submit those. As we learn about events, county commission and school board meetings.
All right, so this is just some information regarding how you can find the universal calendar they're trying to put together. I would also encourage anybody who does put these things together. There's a whole bunch of different little groups, whether it's anti-mandate or anti-lockdown or, Second Amendment or, medical choice, yada, 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 free speech. You guys got to get involved with that calendar so that way you could drum up more support and the people who follow you can start following the other people with important conservative issues. All right, going back to the old CCRP, we got to wait for the results a little while longer. This is going to be at 102.27. All right, this is either Silberkraus or Ed Gonzalez, acting secretary of the old CCRP. Play tape.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. So after conferring with the board and going over the rules, I don't believe we can move forward until the election is complete. So I apologize for that, but we will get these last 9 votes in and then bring the results forward for certification. Thank you for your patience, and we'll get this done as quickly as possible. On the positive note, I will, though, say that as far as elections go, this is actually running fairly close to time with the elections we've had in person. So I know it feels longer because we're separated, but we are getting it done at a decent rate. And aside from this one glitch, unfortunately, we will carry on forward. Thank you for your patience. I'll be back in just a minute.
All right. And, in Silberkraus's defense, obviously, these in-person elections always take at least an hour to do. And it may seem pretty boring and stuff because they can't do any business until the election is over. It's not like they could do some stuff while they're waiting. All we're doing is waiting for the election. So you have 111 people sitting there on a Zoom call, and they're really not even talking whatsoever. And obviously, you could see the contrast between the two meetings. Obviously, you're at a disadvantage being on Zoom, but at the same time, you elected to go on to Zoom. I don't know why they went on Zoom and they didn't do it at the high school or at the church or wherever it is that they had been having their meetings, including the one that I had gone to in November. But there's definitely a different feel between the two meetings. All right. Then, now I got to show you what happened in the morning. All right. If we go to video 3, this is the videotape that was taken of Mac Miller getting railroaded into a metal detector and the ensuing chaos that you may see. I don't know. Are you able to rewind a little bit, or is that all the way back? All right. If you're ready, I'm ready. Keep your eyes peeled. This is crazy stuff. Play tape.
Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. You all right? Hey, that's your lieutenant governor. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's your lieutenant governor.
You know, and I don't mean to smile and make light of it. I mean, Mac could have seriously gotten hurt, but I can't help but smile when I look at Matt Anthony leaning over Mac Miller, who ended up with a big old bump on his head. And like I said, not only did he go on Laura Ingraham, but he went on a bunch of other national news talk shows. And of all the people to get run out like that, I mean, Mac Miller has got his toe in all these different legal clubs and everything. And he is, you know, definitely a politician. He's got his face out there. And of all the people to run through a metal detector, Mac Miller is not the guy you wanted to do it to. There's Mindy Robinson, there's Christy Kettler, and Matt Anthony, and what, you know, it's not funny, but it's so funny at the same time. All right, anyway, the only reason I wanted to show you that is because later that evening, Mac Miller, possibly due to the injuries incurred and him being on bed rest, or maybe going to see his doctor or whatever he had to do, he was unable to make either of the CCRP meetings. I'm guessing he would have gone to the new CCRP and not the old one. But Matt Anthony did speak during public comment at the new CCRP meeting, and if we want, we could go play that tape. That'll be tape 1, and it will be at the 2:08:20 mark. Beautiful. Play tape.
A lot of you are probably aware of what happened today. Could you speak directly to the microphone? Okay, sorry. You can pull it off there if that's helpful. Yeah, that's actually better. Mac is okay. Just to update on his condition, I believe he does have a concussion, and he wasn't able to attend there. But yeah, as far as the county commission, what happened today, that was the most disgraceful, tyrannical thing I've ever seen in my life. And you had to be there to actually witness it. I mean, these county commissioners are insane. And this all started over 2 women in the back wouldn't put their masks on. And, you know, the county commissioners called security over. 2 of them back there, right there, I remember you 2. And the security guards started pushing that, so Matt got in between them, and then they picked him up through a metal detector. So I just want to say there's going to be a lot of national attention on Clark County and Nevada coming up within the next couple days. Massive news media outlets are contacting Matt, myself, a lot of others who are there. And yes, this party needs to be united. And for the last issue, I was going to vote for, but I do think we need to give some of these people on the other, doing the Zoom meetings a chance. Maybe, but not like the leadership. The leadership is totally...
Mr. Yang, the mayor remind you was a recommendation of 1 minute in your...
Okay. All right, so I'm running for Clark County Commission.
There I am.
2024.
That's proof I was there.
3 years away with the recent events of today. Ross Miller's got to go. He also voted yes to censor free speech. And run for county commission, run for local office, all of you.
Thank you.
The school board too.
The chair recognizes Mr. Daniel Bracelet. How are you?
All right, very good. So, I mean, I think some of you might be sick of Matt Anthony on the Johnny Brew Show, so I wasn't going to even play him, but he brought up 3 super important points. All right, number 1, he just addressed the Mac Miller situation and called on people to, support him and, to not support what the county commission's trying to do in stifling free speech. Number 2, he took a lot of time and he was very sincere in opposing Jesse Law and opposing the board's motion to kick out members of the old CCRP. He was trying to spread a message of unity. And if you'll notice, Carrie Ann Buck or anybody else over there, remember, it was Matt Anthony who stood up and spoke on your behalf. Not that you probably even want to be part of the new CCRP or whatever the case may be. But Matt Anthony is continuing, as I am myself, to promote unity after the dust settles with this Clark County Republican Party, as well as with the Nevada GOP, as well as uniting to get some Republicans in office. Please, 2022 is a huge election for us. We have 4 House of Representative seats. We have 1 Senate seat. We have the governor, the lieutenant governor, the secretary of state. I know that there's no vote for president in 2022, but this is as big of an election as you could possibly get here in Nevada. And we really, really, really need to follow Matt's advice for unity. The third point that Matt was making is that all of us need to consider running for office. All of us, whether it's county commission or the school board or the assembly, anything. We need people to run and we need to support each other, especially during this midterm election when not so many people will be showing up to the polls because it's not a presidential election. We really have an opportunity here to turn Nevada red. Anyway, back to the old CCRP. It looks like we may have our election results ready. So let's go to video number 2, the 140 even mark. Play tape.
The actual vote count?
I'm on mute.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, voting requires a majority vote or it goes into a runoff with the top 2 candidates. The count that we have is State Senator Kerry Buck, 55, Dave Crete, 52, Eddie Hamilton, 4. It falls under the 50% threshold. We will prepare to be voted on.
Did you get that? How funny is this? And you could keep playing the tape straight through to 140, 122. But they needed a majority, and Carrie Ann got 55, Dave Crete got 52, and Eddie Hamilton got 4 with 1 abstain. Because Johnny Brew doesn't vote in elections where it's Republican versus
Since
Republican.
it's my job to explain the process onto this on a second vote,
Please.
Since the majority is needed and it fell under the 50% threshold, it is the top 2 candidates who move on. So the second ballot, which is being prepared, will be between Senator Kerry Buck and David Crete.
So after 2 hours of preparation, the only thing they did was get rid of Eddie Hamilton. Over 2 hours to hold this vote. And now they got to do it all over again. So if you want to fast forward to 143.53, and this is Silver Krause telling the 2 candidates to begin preparing. Play tape.
All right, so as we are going to have a second round of balloting on the chair race, I'd like to offer the 2 remaining candidates, State Senator Buck and Mr. Crete, an opportunity to speak to you again. I don't want to throw them right out, so I'd ask them each if they'd like to make comments. I'll give them a couple of minutes to prepare themselves, and then we'll give them each 4 minutes to be able to speak to the body if they'd like to. It's 9:33. I'll come back at 9:35. I'll give them each a couple of minutes to prepare any remarks they'd like to say to the body.
All right, so as they begin the process all over again, they'll also get another chance to speak, which is good because they didn't record the original speeches, which I wanted to bring to you, which I saw the first time. But again, the YouTube video, which is the record, basically, is because we don't have the PAA podcast recording all of it, nor do we have Really Rob, who's going to be doing the same thing, I do believe. So we will get to hear them again. While that is starting all over, we are finishing up public comments. Here's a gentleman named Jim Blocky explaining how, continuing the message of unity. Play tape.
I'm here to talk about relevant PAC. I just wanted to say one thing about this uniting crap. Unity without assimilation is why the Democrats have the America we have today. Is we allowed all these people to come in without assimilating, and we are not very united. So unity without assimilation is doomed for failure. So before we unite, let's assimilate. Let's make them feel the same thing as you. Relevant PAC is I have a organization called Christ Survendors, getting Christians involved in politics, and we have a relevant PAC meeting this Friday. It's at Reconcile Church, 3080 South Durango, and what we're doing is we're trying to get a PAC together with money to fund candidates like Stan Height for sheriff.
All right, very good. So that was Jim Lockey, guys. First of all, I'm sorry the audio isn't great. We're going to get Really Rob to maybe set up a microphone next to each of the microphones. Either way, we're going to figure out a way to get a little bit better quality. Nonetheless, while that was going on, Dave Crete is now prepared to give his second speech of the night, 147.40. It's Dave Crete explaining why he should win the runoff against Carrie Ann Buck. I'm guessing, Dave Crete gets to go first because maybe Carrie Ann is the favorite. I don't know. Maybe they're going in alphabetical order. Crete or Buck backwards. I don't know. Anyway, this is Dave Crete with his stump speech. Why the 111 people who went to this meeting, or 112 people, should vote for him over Carrie Ann Buck.
So, Mr. Crete, if you would like, I can start you at your availability.
There we go. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, Mr. Crete, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, now I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Feel free to go ahead.
Okay. First, congrats to everybody that's been elected tonight, to Carrie and Eddie as well. It's having done this job, it's a thankless job. It's a lot of work. And I know, Stephen, you've seen exactly how thankless it can be, but it's also an honor. And all I'm really going to say is that my promise to you is that I will do my very best to ensure that we win. And whatever's required to do that, I will do. As a parent and a grandparent, I worry about what my next generations are going to encounter. I served under Ronald Reagan in the military from 83 to 89. And I know what my children and grandkids face is a far different America than what I did when I was that age. And I want to bring us back to that place. So my promise is I will work tirelessly. And I am honored by your consideration. And I'd be honored with your vote. Thank you.
All right. That's Dave Crete. Johnny Brew is a big Dave Crete fan. But if I'm being honest, that wasn't a very inspiring speech. It was a cookie cutter, I'm a Republican speech. Nothing to differentiate him. If I were Dave Crete, I'm a Carrie Ann Buck fan too. But if I were Dave Crete, I would have brought up the fact that Carrie Ann Buck is raising money for 3 other different organizations at the moment, and Dave Crete is trying to have a singular purpose to run the CCRP. That is why I believe Dave Crete, that's the best thing that he has to his advantage, is that he's going to have a singular purpose, whereas Carrie Ann Buck has to worry about Republican senators. She's got to worry about the Pinecrest Academy. She's got to worry about one other thing, and then now she's going to have to worry about the CCRP. Dave Crete should have brought up the fact that his singular mission is nothing but the CCRP. But he failed to bring it up. I don't know if he's trying to play nice, if he didn't think about it, if he didn't prepare for it. Instead, he gave the old, I wish it was still Ronald Reagan in office speech, which we can all agree on, but I don't think that's going to sway any voters to change their mind. And he's fighting for the 4 Eddie Hamilton votes. Carrie Ann got 55, Dave Crete got 52, Eddie Hamilton got 4. So Dave Crete needs to get all 4 Eddie Hamilton votes to go 56 to 55, because of course I'm going to abstain. With that said, while Carrie's preparing for her speech, we had the original guy who started this whole thing when he announced that he was running for chair of the CCRP, the position of the new CCRP, which is the position Jesse Law holds. This is Rudy Cly, not coming out of hiding, but tongue-in-cheek, coming out of hiding, joining us at the CCRP meeting in order to address what he's been through. Play tape.
My name is Rudy Cly, and many of you know me. I want to come up here today. I haven't been around since I was slandered by Sajak every but I want to come here today to compliment and thank Jesse Law and the staff for the wonderful work you did. They're sticking with us and doing all this hard work, and they did wonderful work. And you can see by the room today how many people showed up. Okay. However, there's an old proverb that says, if there isn't an enemy within, the enemy without can do us no harm. So I'm really stressing about bringing people in terms of unity, just for the sake of unity in bodies. Okay? These people hurt us. They slandered me. They slandered my wife, who's partly Jewish, and said we were anti-Semites. Said we were racist. They said horrible things about us, and it's unforgivable. I'll forgive them in the name of Jesus Christ, but I won't forget. I won't forget. So you can forgive these people for what they've done to us, and the Sajak said how he swore at us and called us names and said everything. I'll forgive them in the name of Jesus, but I won't forget. I will not forget. And I urge you not to welcome them back into this party. Thank you very much.
I have room for 2 more comments. The chair recognizes Ms. Kathy News.
Kathy News, Commission District 1. I just want to give you guys a save the date. I know it sounds like a long way.
And, so there you go. You got Rudy Cly. He's not quite as kind and inviting as Matt Anthony, but again, preaching forgiveness. I mean, they put him through the ringer. They did all that stuff, calling him a white supremacist and an anti-Semite, and I know his girl went through it too. She was supporting his candidacy, and they badmouthed her, as well as, anybody involved with Matt and Rudy and all them, which was the original grassroots movement for the CCRP. So Rudy himself thanking Jesse Law, wishing him the best of luck, and explaining that he's going to forgive the old CCRP, and he's hoping that we can unite. All right. That gave Carrie Ann enough time to prepare, so let's hear her stump speech, see if she has something more inspiring to say as they prepare for their runoff election. Play tape.
Thank you, Mr. Crete. So with that, I will offer Senator Buck the opportunity to speak. Give me just a moment to find her. There we are. All right, Senator Buck, you've got your allotted time if you'd like to begin.
Thank you, Acting Chair Silvercross, Acting Secretary Gonzalez, and for all of Washoe County, for all of your hard work in getting this up and running. I want to also, congratulate Dave Crete and know that no matter what the outcome is, I'll be working alongside him and Eddie, our biggest cheerleader out there, to bring home the win. remember, we're a family. Families fight. I mean, I don't even get along with my husband or agree with him 100% of the time, but in the end, we're family. And so we're all Republican. And we want the same thing, to help conservative candidates win the general election so that we don't have to suffer under socialist Democrats any longer. I've been hands-on helping a lot of the slate, Iris and Bing and Dr. Phil, with precinct development. And although there is turmoil on the outside, we're still working. If you look at voter registration, right now in Clark County, we have 37.5% Democrat. We're 36.1% nonpartisan, and Republicans are 26%. So if every single Republican voted for a citywide job or a countywide job, they wouldn't win. And so we need to be better at winning the independents and non-majors. I look forward to working together with everyone to provide everyone the opportunity to work and have input and do as much work as you want to. We need all hands on deck, and we need more hands on deck. And so I hope to ignite that toward our common goal, and that is beating the socialist Democrats. I look forward to putting together this united front for the conservative agenda, and I hope that you vote Carrie Buck. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Buck. With that, I believe the new ballot is ready to go out. I'm just going to check with our team, and if so, we will go ahead and release the ballot to the membership.
And there you go. So they've now emailed all of the members the runoff ballot with just Carrie Ann and Dave Crete. Carrie Ann's speech was, I gotta say, as uninspiring and cookie cutter as Dave Crete's. I mean, I'm not looking for Carrie Ann and Dave Crete to throw punches at each other, but why doesn't Carrie Ann say something like, I've been in Nevada for the past, all my life, or however long she's been here, and Dave Crete's a transplant from Arizona, or I'm a sitting senator and I have the connections necessary to, make Clark County turn red and join the rest of Nevada, or something about her being endorsed by the previous board. I'm not asking them to hurt each other in their speeches, but I am asking them to differentiate themselves, which neither one of them did. And then Carrie Ann talked a lot about united fronts and listening to all voices and having everybody get involved. Of course, that begs the question, does she mean everybody, or does she just mean everybody that's in that particular Zoom call? And then regarding her statistics, having these court battles and mudslinging fights is not what's going to get us more voters. Somehow, some way, we're going to have to get Carrie Ann Buck and Jesse Law in the same room and make them fix their differences. Because I'm sorry, no matter how progressive or liberal or left or working with the CCEA or whatever your accusations of the old CCRP, if they're going to vote red, we need them. And same thing with the other way. If Carrie Ann Buck wants to hold on to her Senate seat, she's going to need the support of all Republicans. Of course, she's not up for election right now, but either way, her friends are going to be up for election and the people she endorses, and she's going to need all the people that were in the Ahern to vote for that Republican candidate. So eventually, I don't even know, maybe are we going to fight until the primaries and we're going to have to choose between the old CCRP Secretary of State and the new CCRP Secretary of State, and the old CCRP and the new CCRP school board member, and then we'll let the primaries decide, and that's when we're going to come back together? I don't know. I don't know what that means. I sure hope it happens sooner than later, though. All right. on part 2 of this episode, we're going to get the results from the old CCRP election. And we're also going to see some interviews that you only get here on the Johnny Brew Show. I know you guys saw me walking back and forth during the coverage of the new CCRP meeting. It's because I was setting up all these great interviews. We've got Mr. Tony Lane. We've got Miss Jessica Hansen herself. We've also got Michael McDonald and Jesse Law, all speaking to our very own Rick Charles here on the Johnny Brew Show. So tune in next time for the results from the old CCRP election and exclusive interviews from the new CCRP meeting here on the Johnny Brew Show. What I need you to do is hit that subscribe button and also hit that little bell, because that little bell will tell you when I'm going live, which I do from time to time, and that's when I'm really trying to encourage you guys to call in and talk to me or text me or comment. So make sure you not only subscribe, but you also hit that little bell. Tell a friend. You could always reach us at 702-501-5304. Texting is great. You could call that number and leave a voice message. You know, I probably won't answer unless you're already saved in the phone. Or if you want to talk, text and say, hey, Johnny Brew, this is so-and-so. Can you give me a call? Otherwise, just send me your text, your thoughts on the show, yada, yada, yada. Common Sense Nevada and the Johnny Brew Show, both on Facebook. And thank you so much. Please tell a friend. My name is John Brookhagen, host of the Johnny Brew Show. And don't forget to check out the education special this weekend where Anna Binder joins us to talk all things CCSD. My name is John Brookhagen. Thank you.